Hello and welcome to this episode of Hampton Roads Business Live. My name is Rory Graham and I have the pleasure of having with me today Mike Bohr from CarLotz, and that's Lotz with a Z on the end instead of an S. That's right here in Chesapeake. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
And, you know, we have a lot of car dealers in the area, used and new and all, but yours is a really different experience. And I don't mean that like it's a different experience for a dealership, but I mean it's a whole new model, and I really didn't understand until I talked to you about it. It's really pretty cool.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us what that model is now that I've hyped
Sure.
it up?
Yeah. Sure. Well, we're technically a dealership. We have a lot. We have 270 cars on the lot. Mm-hmm. We have 3 lots in Virginia. The key difference is we don't own any of the cars that we're selling. So we are a service for sellers and buyers, private market sellers and buyers, to get together and transact anonymously, efficiently, and we do all the work. So it's a dealership. You'd show up, there are cars on the lot, there's professional customer service folks helping you sell your car or buy a car, but ultimately we're not selling our own product. We're helping sellers sell their cars. We're helping buyers buy these private market vehicles.
All right, now when I first heard that, I thought, well, that sounds different. But then the more you look at it from every angle, I was really impressed, because for the seller, it's a really good deal.
Yeah.
For the buyer, it's even a better deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's look at it from the seller first of all.
Sure.
Okay, and if you don't hit on what's impressed me, I'll stop you. But go ahead. Tell us about
Well, fundamentally, it's a consignment store for cars. So as a seller brings their vehicle in, we take a look at it, we do an inspection of it, and we'll analyze through the data that we have what probably a good market price would be for that vehicle, and we make a recommendation to the seller. They can choose to take our recommendation, or they can choose to price it wherever they'd like. Ultimately, it's our seller's vehicle, and so they choose the price. If they choose to consign it with us, which they typically do, we get the car inspected by a mechanic. We have the car professionally cleaned, professionally photographed, and then listed everywhere where people go to shop for cars. So these vehicles are on AutoTrader, they're on Cars.com, they're on Craigslist, several other sites that people visit. They're on CarLotz.com, which is our own site that gets tens of thousands of visitors a month. The cars are on our lots. They're being actively marketed by our 30 people across our 3 lots. And then we go on test drives with folks. We provide buyers financing, we provide them warranty options. Really, we try to make it as easy as possible for buyers to buy our sellers' vehicles. And then the buyer makes an offer. We present that offer to the seller, and if the seller accepts the offer, we do all the DMV paperwork. We are technically a dealership, so we can put temp tags on the car, and the buyer rolls away with their new private party price car without having to deal with the hassles of the traditional private market.
Right. Now, we'll just take that apart just a little bit.
Sure. Okay,
because there's a lot there.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're thinking about it, if you're going to go to sell a car, you have to advertise it. And of course, with this, you don't.
Right.
You're going to handle that. You have to get it inspected by a mechanic, see if there's anything majorly wrong with it. You don't have to do that with
Correct.
you. And you have to worry about meeting somebody if they want to look at the car, or if they want to test drive the car. And so that's time consuming and all of that. So you don't have to worry about any of that either. And you get to choose your own price, although you'll give them a recommendation.
Right.
Okay. So, and then on top of that, you have financing options that could help them sell it. You have all kinds of things which normally that's not the case when you're doing a buyer. And so they are going to end up possibly commanding a higher price than if they would, let's say, if they traded it in.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah, I mean, what we see is that our service typically provides a seller with a value that is $2,000 to $5,000 more than what they would get if they traded their car in or took it to a vehicle buying service. So you've got a very powerful combination of tremendous value and no hassle. And that's really what our business is all about.
So the bottom line is they want the money for the car anyway, so they're getting more money for the car and less hassle in doing the transaction.
That's exactly
and
right.
better exposure.
Yeah,
all
better
along, then
exposure.
they would be able to.
And you know, we're professionally marketing the vehicle. A lot of times people compare us to a real estate agent that's professionally selling your house. We're professionally selling your car.
Right.
It's going to be cleaned. It's going to be professionally photographed. We're going to have 70, 80 pictures of your car on all the websites where cars are marketed. You're going to have our people there 9 to 7, Monday through Saturday, responding to leads 7 days a week, and really just doing everything possible to get your car sold as quickly as possible at a price that you approve of.
Okay, now right now we're talking about the seller, so let's finish talking about the seller by talking about something that everybody's watching this is asking me. Well, yeah, but how much does that cost you? Okay,
Right.
So talk
Yeah.
about fees.
Yeah, so our fee is in two parts. There's a $199 listing fee, which is when you bring your car in, and for that we prep the vehicle, we get it inspected, cleaned, photographed, marketed. We do everything
That's amazing for that
that we
price.
do for $199. And then when the vehicle sells, we deduct $699 from the proceeds, and that's our success fee. So all in, it's $898. And what we found is that's about a quarter or less of the value that we're adding in the process. So if you're getting $4,000 or $5,000 more for your vehicle than the trade-in, you know, that $898 is just a small piece of that.
Right. That's you know, makes me wish I had a car to sell. Okay, so that is a really good deal. All right, so we've looked at it from the seller side. So it's a
Yeah.
great deal for the seller. All right, now let's look at it from the buyer side. Why would someone want to come and see it? There's a really good reasons for this too. So
Yeah, well, again, it's a combination of value. You're buying a car at a private market price versus a retail price, which is what you'll pay at a dealer. But you're also dealing with very professional, customer service focused staff. We built our whole model based on the fact that people really don't like the used car market. They don't they don't like dealing with strangers or dealing with the traditional dealer and the games and the ambiguity in pricing, and everything's kind of in a black box. With us, it's all transparent. It's very high integrity. Our model is built on transparency, integrity, and customer service. So when you come in to consign your car, we go over a bunch of data and we help you pick a price. When the buyer comes in, we show them the exact same data. We show them how we arrived at the price that we chose, and everybody sees everything. They know how much CarLotz is getting, $898, no matter what the car is. They know how much the seller is getting, and they know how much they're paying. It's all out there. And the beauty of this flat fee model is that we have no motivation or incentive to get you to buy a car that's more expensive than you want to spend. And in many cases, we're highlighting the vehicles we have, and people end up buying a car that's far less expensive than they thought they'd have to spend to get a car that they wanted.
and it doesn't matter to you, so that puts more emphasis on satisfying the client, finding exactly what's right for them.
That's exactly right. We view each car as an individual customer relationship that we're working hard to satisfy. So whether you have a Ferrari or you have a Ford Focus, for us, it's the same fee, it's the same amount of work, it's the same effort that we put in to selling each car.
So do you have people who miss the typical, well, I don't know, let me go to the manager and talk about this kind of a scenario?
Well, it's funny,
because I hate that.
Our sales manager is our customer, it's our seller. So when we say we need to go talk to the sales manager, we're talking to the seller, and we're advising them on a price. If you make an offer that's slightly below the listing price, we'll call the seller and we'll say, hey, we have an offer, it's $300 less than your asking price, but we think it's still a great price because of X, Y, and Z, and based on how long the car's been on the lot, etc. And then it's really up to them to say, yeah, I'll take it, or let's counter at a different price, or no, I don't want to take it.
Okay.
Ultimately, we follow their instructions.
I see. Okay, that's quite a model. Okay. So what prompted you to do this? I guess having a unique model like that is some inspiration to do it. But what prompted you to do it? Because in this area, I mean, there's a car dealer every 50 feet.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, we're technically a car dealership, but we view ourselves very differently.
Right.
What we're really doing is taking a market that's very inefficient, which is the private sale market, and making it very efficient. We got this idea about, you drive down the road and you see cars parked on the side of the road with a sign out front saying for sale, and then you have to call a number and meet somebody, and we just felt like that's a really inefficient way to sell a vehicle. And so we thought, why can't we bring all these vehicles into one spot so buyers can come and see all these private sale vehicles that are priced really well, and have all the services that they really need when they're buying a car: the financing, the warranty, the customer service, the help, the can I take it to my mechanic? Sure, let me help you do that. Let us do all the work to help you make this process efficient for you. So we had that idea a couple years ago, and we started chatting about it with folks who know the market really well, and we were encouraged by folks who know the market. And so about 2.5 years ago, we opened a lot in Richmond, Virginia, in Midlothian, and very quickly it became very popular. We opened a second store about a year later also in Richmond, and then 6 months after that we opened the store down here in Chesapeake, and it's been fantastic. The customer feedback is really what makes it really rewarding for us.
I would imagine you get great customer feedback. I mean, from both buyers and sellers, because it improves on such well, no, traumatic is a good word for it, but
that's a good word.
a really painful process is both buying and selling a car. It can be a painful process, and nobody wants to do it, you know? And it sounds like to me that you have made it so much easier and affordable to do and do well.
Well, the big complaint, you know, when you do big industry studies on industries that rank poorly in customer service and trust and integrity, the used car market is
You're right there with Congress, aren't you?
low on that list. And so we really wanted to build a model that changes all of that. You know, so our flat fee model, the transparency we've built into our system, it really makes it a very comfortable place for people to buy a car. So the feedback we get from buyers is very much, this was comfortable, it didn't feel like any other used car transaction. I'll come back to you guys every time I need a car. The feedback we get from sellers is very much on the value point and on the ease of the transaction. Right. So we really feel like we're adding a lot of value to both sides of the equation, and our job is really to ensure that both the seller and the buyer are happy when they leave. And they typically are happy when they leave if there's a fair transaction that was hassle-free.
Right. And so what do you see as the future for CarLotz?
Well, we're still working hard to make this as great a business as we can make it. We learn from every customer interaction, new things, we get feedback, good and bad, and with each of that, we make tweaks to the business model and try to make it better and better. We really feel like there can be a CarLotz on every auto row in the country. So, we're not in a hurry to get there, but we'd like to have many of these so that sellers have a new avenue through which to transact, and buyers have a whole new source of vehicles that they can buy from.
Okay, well, it sounds like you're on the right road.
Thank you.
It's a great business model. I'm surprised nobody's thought of this before, but I guess you're glad they didn't. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you'd like to mention?
No, we're just excited to be in the Hampton Roads market. We've seen a lot of growth in this market for our business. Mm-hmm. We're really looking forward to adding some more locations down here and really just trying to get more great inventory into our system. And really one thing to stress is our inventory is really whatever people bring to us. So we have the $1,000 car, we have the $120,000 car, and then we have everything in between. Our average vehicle, it probably looks a lot like the average vehicle you see on the street, but the breadth of inventory that we have on our lot is much, much larger than you'll see anywhere else. And we do motorcycles, we do work vehicles, we have work with a lot of...
I was going to ask if you do motorcycles and things too.
We do, and a big part of our business is work vehicles, commercial vehicles. We work with businesses that have fleet vehicles that they otherwise would be taking to auction, and now they have an outlet through which they can retail their vehicles and get a few $1,000s more for each vehicle when they go to sell. And that's been really a part of the business that just fell into our... We hadn't considered that when we started the business, but it's turned into a decent portion of our inventory.
It's nice when that happens.
It's fantastic. But you've got small business owners locally and regionally that now have this source of work vehicles that have been inspected and that they can buy, and then for larger businesses that have these fleets, they drop them off with us. We do all the work and get them a check that's larger than it otherwise would be.
Well, that's great. I'm I don't usually make a whole lot of comments during these interviews, but I was really impressed with that model. It was very well thought out.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we put a lot of time into that, obviously,
Yeah.
and thought about it because it seems to be working, and I don't know why it wouldn't. So if you are looking for a car, you might want to consider CarLotz. They're in Chesapeake on Military Highway, right down from this studio, matter of fact, near Greenbrier. And if you are selling a car, this is a fantastic way that you might want to consider to take advantage of selling it and getting out in front of a lot of people through the advertising and having it sold right for you for a really decent fee. So the contact information for Mike and CarLotz is at the end of this video. It's also on the bottom of this page along with some information about the company. And I wish you a lot of success. It sounds like you're on your way anyway.
Thank you very much.
But I appreciate you coming in and appreciate you being in business in the Hampton Roads area. And that's a kind of car dealership we need.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.